crashing out the sky, falling one by one. Walking alone on the coldest night. There's nothing I can ever say to change your mind. I gotta live without your love. We've said goodbye. There's nothing I can ever say to change your mind. Defeated by the dreams and the memories we've made. To see it crashing out the skies like a tidal wave down on me. Walking alone on the coldest night. There's nothing I can ever say to change your mind. I gotta live without your love. We've said goodbye. There's nothing I can ever say to change your mind. Walking alone on the coldest night. Nothing I can ever say to change your mind. I gotta live without your love. We've said goodbye. Nothing I can ever say to change your mind.
I've been up for 3 nights. My eyes are bloodshot red. Damn, I wanna see the sunshine. It's getting to my head. One look in the mirror, don't like what I find. I know that somewhere in there there's a good guy, but he runs away at midnight. I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die before I'm 23. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. My siblings are perfect and I wish I were the same. Making bad decisions, it should be my middle name. I love playing with fire, it's my favorite. Watch me burn my whole house down, not feel a thing. One look in the mirror, don't like what I find. I know that somewhere in there there's a good guy, but he runs away at midnight. He runs away. I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die This is what happens when I'm out of my medicine. There's collateral damage, I gotta go. I'm sorry that I stole your car. Ain't got those tattoos on my arms that don't mean shit to me. Maybe you should pull the alarm, so I don't take it way too far. Die before I'm 23. I'm sorry, Mom. 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 I've been up for 3 nights.
All right. How we all doing? And welcome on in. Hold on. Let me mess with the chat a little bit. I'll make the chat pretty big. There we go. All right. We are live. Should be live, at least. I'm hoping the audio sounds fine. Do this. There we go. All right. We should be live. I'm like 90% sure we're live and we're working. All right. How's it going? Welcome on in. The plan for today, as the title suggests, I'm going to be going over the 2025 spring anime that I have reacted to or seen. And seen, I guess, I should say. Because I want to make this a regular thing. At the end of every season, at the end of every anime season, I want to do a stream like this, where I give my live thoughts to the season as a whole of what I've seen or reacted to. And I could have done this in a video form, but I didn't feel like it. I figured it'd be more fun to do it live. Give me 1 second. Let me turn this off. Drop this down. Okay. Yeah. Just wanted to do that. Because today I have 5 main things I'm going to be discussing. 5 anime. Because I didn't watch a lot this season. In terms of spring anime, I didn't watch a lot. I've seen 5 of them. 3 I reacted to, 1 I technically also reacted to, and then 1 I did not see. That I did not react to at all. But I watched it. So I want to talk about it. And let's just move on over to the reaction, the scene. Talk about it. So this is the order of discussion that we're going to be talking about. Starting with MHA Vigilantes, moving on to To Be Hero X, then Windbreaker, and then Fire Force, and finally, the beginning after the end. Because that has been the most divisive anime I have talked about on the channel, and on social media in general, this entire season. So I'm saving that for last. Now, technically, keyword here, technically, MHA Vigilantes is still ongoing. Keyword here is technically. Mommy, I'm just filling up my cup. Now, technically, Vigilantes is still ongoing with one more episode this Monday. At the time of the stream, this Monday is when the next, technically the final episode of Vigilante Season 1 is. And with that being said, I'm still gonna talk about it because new stuff starts either tonight or tomorrow, technically for the summer season, and I don't want to, it would defeat the point of this stream if I do it during the start of the summer season. So we're going into this assuming Vigilantes ended, and to be honest, my first thoughts on Vigilantes were that the episode 12, they could end the season with just episode 12, and I would not complain at all. I think that would have been a good way to end episode 12. Now, of course, there will be spoilers throughout this stream. If you have not seen the episodes for any of the shows up here, if you have not seen them, tune out when I start talking about them, I guess. But yeah, that's the plan. And starting with Vigilantes, hold on. My mouth is dry for some reason. Okay. Alright. So, Vigilantes had, I don't want to say it was a slow start, because it wasn't necessarily a slow start. That honor goes to Fire Force, but that's for later. Fire Force is later. Vigilantes. Now, some context. I went into Vigilantes not knowing anything about it, other than the fact that the manga My Hero Academia Vigilantes existed. I did not know anything else about it, but I was very familiar with the My Hero Academia universe, all that stuff. I was fully aware of that, and so I went into this not completely blind, just in the universe in general. And so, Vigilantes, it's clear that season 1, for the most part, keyword here, for the most part, season 1 was set up for meeting the characters. There's no way they're going to stop at season 1. They're doing the season 2, 3, or whatever. However many seasons they can do. They can milk for the manga. So it was clear season 1 was a meet the characters moment. Just making sure the stream's still going. Yeah. It was clear that season 1 is a meet the characters moment with some story mixed in. And it did that well. I think my favorite character so far in Vigilantes is Knuckle Duster. I just think he's really cool. Oh, God, you know. My favorite character in My Hero Academia, well, one of them is Eraserhead. But specifically in Vigilantes, I'd say probably I'm torn between Knuckle Duster and Knuckle Duster, I guess. I can't think of the other name off the top of my head. But Vigilantes definitely, I wouldn't say it suffered from a slow start, but there were definitely moments where it was like, okay, this is like exposition. This is an episode meant to meet characters. And I mean, it did it well. My Hero Academia in general does meeting new characters really well, for the most part. I can't think of a single character in My Hero Academia that they've introduced us to that we didn't know or like, or that they didn't do a good job of introducing to us. But yeah, So with that said, I think I do think that as the show progressed, like as it went on the episodes, it got better and better. Like I'd say really, I can actually pull this up. I have all the episodes that I reacted to. Content. The playlist. Look at my Vigilantes playlist. Okay. Yeah, I think it really first picked up in episode 4 when we got to meet Ingenium, when we were introduced to him officially. Episode 4 and onward is when they were like, okay, let's introduce a good character and start to move the story along. And they did that well. And that's also, I don't think that's not when we first got to meet Queen Bee, I don't think. But it is one of the first episodes where we got a proper introduction almost to her. So with that, I do think the anime picked up when episode 4 and onward. And then from there, it was pretty consistently like new things, like meeting the villain killer, Stendhal, who later became Stain. Now, I will say, with Stain, I don't know if I mentioned this during my reaction, but I was not completely surprised to meet Stendhal/Stain. And the reason for that is because a lot of people probably aren't as big into fanfiction as I am, but I have read a lot of My Hero Academia fanfiction over the last like couple years, and they have gone through the whole Stendhal to Stain pipeline. A lot of them have. So I was already familiar with the fact that Stendhal became Stain, but I was not quite familiar with how he became Stain. They always never got to that part. It was more like they always mention it, that he was Stendhal, but that was it. And so I knew about that. I knew the outcome of that. I didn't know how it would happen, and that was cool. But like, I think my least favorite character, I can say this, is Captain Celebrity. Now, I get that realistically he's a gag character. He's the stereotypical American hero who's full of himself. But I hate him still. I will say, although technically with it toned down, I don't hate him as much with his celebrityness toned down a little bit. So there's that. But he's still my least favorite character. I don't like him. Oh, well, actually, no. He's not my least favorite character. My least favorite character is Queen Bee. Like, straight up. I don't like her. I don't like bees. I think bees are a mistake in this world. And if I could press a button and eliminate every single bee in existence, I would, in a heartbeat. I don't care about the repercussions to the nature and all that. I would eliminate them in a heartbeat so that they can never show up again. Bees are a disgrace to this ecosystem. But that, I will say, the whole thing with Knuckleduster and Hachisuka, or Amao, or Queen Bee, or whatever the names are, I like that. Like with the last episode, with episode 12, now that's not the last episode unfortunately, but with episode 12, that full fight scene with Hachisuka and Knuckleduster, that was awesome to see. I love that so much. But I did mention this at the beginning of the stream. I feel like they could have ended off Vigilantes with that episode. I don't think they need to do an episode 13. Like, sure, it's fine. It's not a big deal at the end of the day, but like, it would have been a good ending. It would have been a good ending because it had like the situation was resolved. Literally every problem that we were introduced to so far, for the most part, has been resolved in that episode. They could have made that the season finale and just ended it with 12 episodes. I don't know why they have to do 13. Which is why I'm still doing this stream and talking about Vigilantes, because I'm pretending that it ended. Because it kind of did. It had a good conclusion to the season. Which is why I will say I did like episode 12. It was really good. It looked great. And that's the thing that almost every anime so far that's on this list has succeeded in. It's looking good. Technically. There's a caveat to that. But yeah, it looked good. The fight between Hachisuka and Knuckle Duster was awesome to see. I love that. It looked really cool. And it was I wouldn't say heartbreaking, but it was definitely, it tugged at my emotional strings. When we learn more about the backstory between Knuckle Duster and Tama, his daughter. Like, it tugged at my heartstrings, which is a good thing. When an anime can tug at my heartstrings, I think it's doing well. That's one of the factors in how I rate an anime. If I only rate anime 8 and above if they can cause me to feel emotions. If they can cause me to feel emotions, then at the bare minimum, it's an 8. Straight up. Whereas, if it can't cause me emotions, it usually almost always going to be below an 8. But there could be an exception if like the whole point of it was not to cause emotions. And when I say emotions, I mean more like like sadness, heartbreak, stuff like that. Or even anger. Anger is a fair emotion. If it makes me feel that, it might be above an 8. But like happiness, excitement, stuff like that, that's not really what I consider a emotion worth considering when I rate an anime. Because the default I should be feeling is either a positive emotion. That should be the default. But yeah, my thoughts on MHA Vigilantes were if I had to rate Vigilantes on a scale of 1 to 10 just for season 1, well, just for what we've seen, technically what we've seen, I would probably give it an 8.5. I think honestly that's probably the highest I can go, is an 8.5, which is unfortunate because almost every season of My Hero Academia is above an 8.5 for me. It's either an 8.5 or 9 or even a 10 in some cases. But Vigilantes at best is a 8.5 for me. So, but I will say episode 13 could change my mind. It could go above or it could make it plummet. I don't know. It will depend on what episode 13 has in store. So let's do 8.5 out of 10. Okay, let's move on to To Be Hero X. Now, To Be Hero X is an interesting category for me. It's an interesting one. Because I am bitter. I am very bitter about To Be Hero X. Because it caused me to get a copyright strike on this channel. Within like a month of me starting this channel, I got a copyright strike because of To Be Hero X, specifically only because of that. Nothing else got struck. It was To Be Hero X specifically. And I'm bitter about that because I took the necessary precautions, all the steps necessary. I did it. And yeah, I still got struck. And the video got taken down. The last episode was episode 4. So, with that aside, I did then start doing it as a Patreon exclusive. That was the only place I could react to it. So it's on Patreon. All that. And we're on episode 12, I think. Yeah, episode 12. It's almost every show I'm talking about is on episode 12 or finished. So, To Be Hero X is an interesting show because by all accounts, it's a 9.5 out of 10, which is very difficult to do for me when it's only 12 episodes so far. For me to rate anything a 9 or above, it usually takes at least if it's only 12 episodes, it takes a lot, because I don't usually consider 12 episodes being enough to be like, oh, this is a 9.5 out of 10. There are exceptions, of course, as always, and To Be Hero X is one of those exceptions. 12 episodes in, and I am rating it a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. I think the problem, though, is that I can't watch it on YouTube. I'm not watching on YouTube, at least not until the current strike that I have expires. I'm not taking that chance again, bro. And I'm not the only one. There was another. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who got strike by it. But there's another channel that I am a huge fan of. He got his reactions blocked, and so he just stopped reacting to it on YouTube. So at least I'm not the only one, which does make me feel better. But To Be Hero X is definitely in a weird place of being really good, but also slightly confusing. Because, like, I understand how it works. You go in with every 2 or 3 episodes covers a new hero. And it's starting from the past, moving to the present, as far as I can tell. And it does that really well. And the twists and turns that it has are insane. Now, to break this down even further, I'm gonna be talking about individually specific arcs that we see so far for To Be Hero X. The first arc is the Nice arc, where we meet Nice and Lin Ling. And Nice, I think the Nice and Lin Ling arc was probably, I kind of want to say it's my favorite arc. Maybe I'm torn. On the one hand, the Nice arc is really good, and especially when we are introduced to Rek, that was like, hell yeah, I love that. And of course, I'll start saying this every time I talk about a show. But spoiler warning, because I am going to be delving into spoilers for the episodes. But I think the little connection between Nice and Rek is what brought my feelings of this being a really good arc to a great arc up a lot. Because it was a really good arc. And the extra dynamic of Rek and Nice made it up to even greater heights. And so I wish I could speak. Tentatively. I hate that word so fucking much. Okay, so I'm gonna okay, what's the word? Tentatively. That's how you say it. Tentatively. If I say it too fast, I can't do it. But if I try to sound it out, tentatively. There. Tentatively, I'm gonna say the Nice arc is my favorite arc so far. Then we have the which arc is it next? It's so many arcs have happened so far. I think the E-Soul arc is next, I think. And the E-Soul arc, honestly, I think the E-Soul arc was probably my least favorite. I like the main guy. of that arc, who became the new Isol, supposedly. But that was probably my least favorite arc. It looked phenomenal. The final fight looked phenomenal. Still my least favorite arc. I mean, okay, it was my least favorite arc, but it had some touching moments. And like, for example, spoiler warning again, when the son of Mr. Shan, the CEO of Treatment Inc., Treatment Corporation, got shot because the guy with the gun thought that he was Isol. That actually hit my heart pretty hard. That was sad. It didn't need to happen. Straight up, it didn't need to happen. And it's all because, and continue the spoiling, it's all because of Isol. The new Isol, not the old one, the new Isol. Technically, it could be also because of the old Isol, but it's because of the new Isol. Because the dude was jealous. He was jealous that the other guy was hitting on the girl that he all said he had a crush on. And he hesitated. He hesitated because he was jealous, and he wanted to get rid of spin the competition, get rid of it. And I mean, he did that. He got rid of the competition. But that was like, it was stupid. It's all his fault. Like, my favorite character of the arc got killed because of him. But overall, the Isol, I will say, the plot twist with the Isol arc, pretty good. But it's still probably my least favorite arc. It looked good. It had like one or two touching moments, but that was it. For me, at least. For me personally, that was it. It was my least favorite arc. Now, the next arc. I gotta pull up what the order of the arcs were. Okay, hold on. Don't mind me, I'm just checking something else. Ooh, that's not good. Okay. What? Let me see. I have TBATE. Let me see my Patreon playlist for that. TBATE. Yeah. Okay. Boom. Boom. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just had to check that, make sure. But yeah. So we go from the nice arc to the Lucky Cyan arc. Not Lucky Cyan, fuck. To the Isol arc, and then we go to the Lucky Cyan arc. Now, for some reason, almost universally, at least from what I've seen online on YouTube at least, almost universally, Lucky Cyan arc was probably the least favorite for a lot of people. And I think that's the opposite for me. I think it's probably my favorite. It was probably my favorite arc. Because one, it had a happy ending, and two, it had a happy ending, and three, it had a happy ending. So this is the first arc that had a happy ending. But no, really though, it is my favorite arc, partially because it had a happy ending, but also because it was the most emotionally, it hit me the hardest emotionally, which is probably why one of the reasons why it's my favorite. But also, it looked good as well. Every arc looked good. But with the Lucky Cyan arc, I like all the characters involved. Like, I liked Lucky Cyan, of course. The other guy, Luo, that's his name. I had to think of his name for a second there, but I liked his name, Luo. He was cool, and they deserve a happy ending. That's what I'm gonna say on that matter on them. They deserve a happy ending. It's not fair that just because other heroes appear to suffer a lot doesn't mean they have to as well. And you wanna know what I think is fucked about that arc, about the Lucky Cyan situation in general, is that, for one, she's a kid. I think even at the end of the Lucky Cyan arc, she's like 13, 14, and everything that's happened to her, that's fucked. But then also, what sucks is that she didn't even want to be a hero, and yet she ends up being a hero. Like, she has it rough, man. But the Lucky Cyan arc, it hit me the hardest, because it just did. It was a roller coaster, a proper roller coaster of emotions, and I think what the Lucky Cyan arc did really well. And of course, this could all change in the future, of course. But what it did well is it had a solid beginning, middle, and then a climax. Like a proper climax that's not open-ended. Whereas with the, well, okay, technically the Nice arc also had a pretty good climax, where we got to where Lin Ling became the commoner, which that was actually really cool. But Lucky Cyan did it really well with a beginning, middle, and a end/climax, which is why I really liked it, I think, because it's not ambiguous. They had a happy ending, at least in that aspect. What happens in the future, I don't know, because I can't see the future. And I've done a very good job of, here's my philosophy with stuff that I react to. I avoid most trailers and like PVs, characters, teasers, stuff like that, like the plague, for the most part. There are exceptions, of course, like with Gotcha Kuda, which is coming up next Saturday or Sunday. That's the exception. But then there's also, like, because of the nature of what I do and because of the fact that I'm online constantly, I end up getting spoiled on certain things. But I do very well to avoid character PVs, trailers, stuff like that. So, I don't know what happened in the future, or what happens technically in present day in 2 Year X, because I try to avoid anything that talks about that, because I like to be surprised. Here's a hot take, little tangent. Here's a really hot take. I don't know why reactors decide that they want to watch trailers. Now, I'm guilty of that. I am guilty of that with Gotcha Kuda. But that was one trailer out of everything else that I'm going to be watching this season, reacting to. So I don't think that's as big. But I don't know what it is with a lot of reactors who watch almost every trailer for everything they're going to react to, because that takes away basically all the excitement or build-up that could come from it, if you ask me. Because think about it this way. Think about it this way. If you ask me, watching a trailer for an anime, a movie is different, I think, but watching a trailer for an anime for a show is the equivalent to reading a summary, a technically spoiler-free summary of a very popular book, or a book in general. Technically, you haven't been spoiled, but also technically, you know some stuff that's gonna happen, so you kind of were spoiled. But technically, you don't know what the spoil is connected to, so technically, it's not a spoil. You see where I'm going with that? I don't get it. I did. Okay. As someone who has been on YouTube for over 10 years, because I had a few channels over the years, and I've been doing YouTube now for, I think, close to 15 years. Many years I've been on here. I know how the game of YouTube works very well. So I know why people react to trailers a lot of the times. It's to get views and clicks. I get it. But I feel like, I don't know if it's worth ruining your own experience for something just for views. Like, that's what I think. So I don't know. I think reactors that I think reactors that react to movie trailers are missing out. Like, and it's not even just one reactor. It's a vast majority of them. Freshest Anime, Kaka TV, who else? A lot of reactors that actually no. Actually, I think those are probably two of the biggest offenders of that. But well, actually no, I don't think Freshest Anime even does it as much as Kaka TV. He does it a lot. He does it a lot, and I think, I mean, he has a strategy, of course. It's just, I don't see the appeal to doing it for every single show that you may or may not watch. Like, if you know you're not gonna watch it, that's a different story. But if there's a possibility you might react to it, why the fuck would you watch it? I did it with Gachiakuta once, just because I'm brand new. This channel is brand new. I did it just to get views, and I regret reacting to Gachiakuta trailer because I know stuff's gonna happen now. But I can't turn back time. Unfortunately, that'd be awesome if I could. But yeah, technically I'm a hypocrite. Technically, but I'm not as egregious as a hypocrite as other reactors that do it. And I am mostly talking about Kaka TV, because he's the biggest offender of that. Okay, tangent over. Superhero X with the Lucky Cyan arc, definitely my favorite arc, and the Nice arc is second place. E-Soul arc, third place, and finally let's talk about the Queen arc. I think the Queen arc actually finished. I think episode 12 was like the end of the Queen arc. I hope it was, but even if it isn't, my least favorite arc. I don't like Queen at all. I feel no connection to her in the slightest. And I think that's a very big problem when you feel no connection to the main character. I think that means you're doing really bad. Because the whole point, because this is like okay, this is a tangent for a second as well. The main character of an anime should be someone that you can like or connect to in some way. If the only emotion you feel towards a main character is hatred or complete disinterest, something's going very wrong with the show or media or whatever it is. This isn't exclusive to anime, but it's very prevalent. And that's partially because a lot of anime, not all, struggle with fleshing out every character or as many characters as they can, not just the main character. TBATE X does not do that. So I don't hate the TBATE X, obviously. I don't hate it. I actually really love it. But I hated the Queen arc because it focused... Okay, I was going to say because it focused on Queen. But I think it focused too much on her and did not flesh her out enough. Because her bare bones explanation of her is silver spoon nepo baby who wants to be the best before the age of 18, and has a name called Queen, which is the most pretentious name right next to Captain Celebrity. And I don't like her at all. There's nothing about her that is remotely and likable about her. I can't think of anything good about her aside from her ability. Her ability is cool, but it's also, she didn't use her ability well enough in the newest episode. Because, again, spoilers, her ability, based on how it was described in episode 11 and 12, is she can create a rule within a boundary, and that's it. They didn't give an explanation of, like, aside from that, there are loopholes, of course. Just like there's loopholes to anything. They didn't give an explanation as to if there's if there are any limitations, nothing. So, aside from the boundary that she made. So, she underutilized her ability, I think. Because she could have, and in my reaction on Patreon to this, I mentioned how her ability seems very similar to Star and Stripe from My Hero Academia. Her quirk was called the New Order, and she could, anything she touched, she could impose a rule on. But there were very defined limits. She can only have, it was our 2 or 3 rules on her, 2 or 3 rules active at a time, and she had to say the name of whatever it is that she's touching, and she had to be touching it. So there were clearly defined limits to it, but there was also a lot of leeway that she could do. And Queen very easily, based on my understanding of what was explained in episode 11 and 12, she very easily could have said, if anyone who steps into this boundary stops, or whatever, however she, like, explains it. She could have made them stop and then, like, pass out or something. That's my understanding of it, based on what the explanation that we were given. So I think she underutilized her ability. I'm not going to focus too much on it, because I honestly don't care about her enough to continue talking about her. So the Queen arc, least favorite. It looked great. I can't knock it for points for being really good. But yeah. So far that's the order of my favorite arcs for 2B Hero X. And I think my rating for 2B Hero X, it was a 9.5. But the more I think about the Queen arc, the lower I want to make the point. Make not 9 out of 1 out of 90, 9 out of 10. I docked at half a point. 2B Hero X is a 9 out of 10 for me. It is, so far, and this, of course, this is like 12 episodes in. So 2B Hero X is a 9 out of 10. It's probably gonna go up realistically based on what we see is. Also, I do like the Johnnies. They're my favorite characters. The Johnnies are cool. I like them. So 2B Hero X, 9 out of 10. Let's move on to Windbreaker. Now, Windbreaker is an interesting one because it is an anime that I am fully that has a manga that I am fully caught up on. Literally, I just read the latest chapter of Windbreaker 3-4 days ago. It was really good. I really liked it. But we're not here talking about the manga, we're talking about the anime. So the anime, I watched season 1 back when it first was airing, of course. And it's actually the reason I got into the manga. I liked it a lot and I wanted to read it, which doesn't happen often. It's very rare that an anime pushes me to go read the source material. It just is. Because I like reading comics and and some manga, but a lot of shows, they don't propel me enough to go out of my way to read the source material. Windbreaker did. And I mainly have been watching Windbreaker as a, I wouldn't say an expert, so to speak, but I kind of would, as an expert who is fully caught up on the manga to see how they adapt it. And they've done very well adapting it. They adapted the Tsubaki-chan arc really well. I love that so much. They adapted the Rappo Ichiza arc. They brought in, oh, spoilers of course. They did Endo and Takeshi really well. I'm glad we got to see them. They are awesome, and I can't wait for next season to see what that is. But like, that's my I don't have much to say about Windbreaker. It's just really good. It did a really good job adapting everything, and like, it's doing a good job of maintaining the positive masculinity that Windbreaker has. Because what makes Windbreaker different from a lot of shonen anime and delinquent anime in general. Let me change the song. What makes Windbreaker different from a lot of shonen anime and delinquent anime. Now, granted, there aren't many delinquent anime, really. And even then, I wouldn't call, I don't know if I'd call Windbreaker a delinquent anime, being honest there. Cause but no, what differentiates them is Windbreaker does a very good job of portraying positive male friendship in a way that a lot of shonen doesn't. A lot of shonen shows fall back on stereotypical man friendship. They don't, some of them don't focus on like being vulnerable, being emotional, stuff like that. A lot of them focus on toxic masculinity. But Windbreaker breaks that mold. It doesn't do that. It very much shows guys crying, being emotional, learning, being friendly, close, stuff like that. It does a very good job of that a lot of shonen anime could learn from. They could. Realistically, you'll never see like Dragon Ball, Naruto, stuff like that doing it. But also they're old and from a different time period. I get it. But yeah, Windbreaker, it just is really good. It did that really well. And overall, I am excited for season 3. I am really excited to see how they adapt the next arc. It's gonna be lit. But yeah, my rating for Windbreaker, and I should probably clarify, season 2 will be 9.5 out of 10. It's just shy. Windbreaker is season 2 is just shy of being a 10 out of 10. It's very close to being a 10 out of 10, but it's not quite there yet. And honestly, I don't know what would propel it to be a 10 out of 10. But 9.5 is really good. And now, Fire Force. Fire Force is an interesting one as well. In that it did something a lot of anime fail to do, and that's break my brain. Fire Force managed to break my brain in a way that most anime do not do. And now, I liked most of the season, most of season 3. I should Fire Force season 3. Now, Now, I liked most of season 3. Some moments I didn't like. Tamaki, I will say up front, the Tamaki fan service was... I didn't hate it. Well, I'm not a fan service person. I think... fan service to me, it just doesn't... It doesn't make the show better. It doesn't make a show better or worse, really, in some cases, if it's not super egregious. And this season, at least, the fan service with Tamaki, it's not egregious. It was there, of course, but it wasn't like in your face all the time like it was in the past 2 seasons. So with that, I didn't hate it. I do wish, and this is a hot take, of course, but I do wish they did more male fan service, because why not? I think that'd be cool. I'd appreciate that more. But regardless of that, I think Fire Force season 3, I have thoughts. My thoughts about it are good, bad, insane, and then, damn, I want season 4 or part 2 next. That's like the order of how it goes. It was good, it was bad, it was good, it was bad, it was awesome, hell yeah. With Fire Force, I like the stuff with Dragon. Dragon's really cool. Seeing him fight Arthur and Archer. Seeing him fight Arthur and Arthur get his ass kicked was hilarious. I have to say. It was a clear test of strength that Arthur failed miserably in. Which was awesome. Because I like when main characters, quote unquote, lose. Or when they struggle. I very rarely don't like power fantasies. I mean, I very rarely like power fantasies. So seeing him lose was awesome. Because there are people stronger than him. And that's something that I think more shows should do, showing main characters losing. More shonen, I should say. Like My Hero Academia did it really well. The good guys do not always win. Inevitably, they probably will. But they don't always win. Which is good. That's very, very, very good. And so, I do like that Arthur lost. Everything else involving Arthur, I didn't care about. Like his parents, meeting his parents, that was a trip. And I assumed we're probably gonna see them again. But it was okay. With seeing him and his parents. I don't have any strong emotions about them. About that whole scene. That whole stuff. So we're gonna skip most of it. And the stuff where we learn about the infernals and all that and how that works. That was dark as fuck. I think with okay, I'm not gonna dilly-dally on certain things. I'm just gonna get to the points that I have at the top of my head. The last like 2 or 3 episodes, I really liked them. Seeing Kurono, aka Reaper, again, awesome. He's one of my favorite characters. Despite everything that he's done, I still love him. He's awesome. He's really cool. His abilities are so cool, bro. I also just really like those kind of abilities where it's more like, where he can be like, where you can have like different weapons, stuff like that. I think that's really cool. And his ability is so versatile. Man, he's just really cool. There we go. All right, but yeah, I like Kurono. The whole thing with a show, fairy, all that was cool to see. Show's really cool. I like him a lot. He's such a good character. And his ability, really cool. I like his hair. His hair is really cool. And seeing Arrow and do all that was cool. They have good teamwork. And then finally with the final episode of season 3. Of core 1 of season 3, I should say. I have theories about that. A theory specifically. And it's the most insane theory I have ever come up with for anything. And I'm going to put it out there again. Because more people have to take that step to consider this. What if... I know how insane it sounds. What if the author of Fire Force, the manga, he can see the future, and Fire Force is his way of telling us the future without being able to tell us the future because like it break the rules of like the world of fate or whatever. Like, what if that's the case? What if Fire Force is our future? And I don't know how to feel about that theory if it were to be true. On the one hand, damn, I wish I was wrong. But on the other hand, damn, that'd be really cool. It'd be a new experience living in the world of Fire Force. But that's my theory for that. And I don't know, it broke my brain. That episode broke my brain a lot. Just like it broke Shimura's brain. And I think I am excited for January or whenever Core 2 returns. I think it's going to be lit. Pun intended. But with Season 3, I will give Season 3 of Core 1 of Season 3. I can't go above a 9. I don't even know if I can go above 8. If we're only counting the last like 3 or 4 episodes, I'd give it an 8. But if I were to contribute every single episode of the season, I think I'd drop it down to a 7. Because I didn't hate the other episodes, but I do wish they had just gotten to the point. So 8.10, 8 out of 10 for Fire Force Core 1 Season 3. Now, finally, TBATE. The beginning after the end. The bane of my existence. The thing that got me a lot of negativity. My thoughts on TBATE. I liked it a lot. My opinion has been, since the very first episode and onward, even as more episodes released, that the beginning after the end anime was good. That's my opinion. My opinion is still true. It's what I still stand by. I don't want to have another crash out over the beginning after the end. It's a lot of work trying to not have a crash out. But I will reiterate, as someone who has read the comic, I read up to, I think, 120 chapters or more or so, give or take, of the comic. A lot of people are calling it a manhwa, which is a Korean comic. It's not a manhwa, it's just a web comic. Technically, there's also a book. But it's a comic, not a manhwa. It's not made in Korea, based in Korea or anything like that. But that's beside the point. as someone who has read the source material, the comic specifically, of the beginning up to the end, I'm keep in mind, I don't remember everything. It's what I've said almost every episode. I don't remember everything I read in there. I remember some plot points. I don't remember a lot of them, which is why I'm able to react to it with such valid reactions and genuineness, is because I don't remember half of the stuff that happens in there or how it happens. So this is a new experience for me. But as a source reader of the comic, I think the beginning after the anime was good. It was very good. It improved. I'd say it improved upon the comic quite a bit, in this fact that we get the scenes involving Gray. Not Arthur, but as Gray. We didn't get those in the comics, I'm pretty sure. Unless it happens way later in the comics past where I read. We don't get a lot of those scenes, if any, really. Or we like actively see stuff like Gray talking and like reflecting on his experience, his life and stuff like that. We don't get that in the comic. And so I do think they did that better than the comic did. Because it adds a layer of complexity to the character. I don't know how many isekai do this, because I typically don't watch isekai a lot. But I don't know how many isekai that have like the main character reflect on their past life and like think about like what they did, what they did in that world, if they could do it here, or how they would do it here, stuff like that. Or more specifically, draw upon their experiences in the past world to the world that they're currently in. I don't know if there are a lot of isekai that does that. If there are, let me know. But yeah, I don't know. And I think TBATE had the one gripe that a lot of people have is that the animation or lack thereof ruined the entire show. And I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I don't know how many times I have to say this, but the animation is not the only thing that makes an anime good or makes an anime an anime. That is a misconception. Just because the word anime means Japanese, it means animation, does not mean that's all it is. Because if that was all it took, if good animation was all it took for an anime to be good, then a lot of anime that people hate would be good because they objectively probably have good animation, but shit stories. But because people think that the animation is what makes an anime good, then it's apparently good, even if the story is bad. Because the animation is good, it's a good anime. That's not how it works. What makes an anime good, and I will hammer this point home as many times as I have to, 60 to 70% of an anime that makes up an anime that makes it good. Let me rephrase. 60 to 70% of what makes an anime good consists of voice acting, OST, story, and technically like effects. But well, effects are more sound effects than anything else, although you could probably consider that the OST as well. But it's probably more like, it's like voice acting, OST, story, and sound effects. That's like 60 to 70% of what makes an anime, in my opinion. In my very correct opinion. I stand by this. And the other like 30 to 40% is animation. Objectively, the TBATE anime does not have great animation. I can admit that. In fact, I've never denied that. I've never said, hey, this has great animation. I have admitted and accepted the fact that the animation is not great. It's, in a lot of words, moving PNGs. But the fact that they're moving counts for something in my book. Because at least they're moving. There are, I know for a fact there are at least 1 or 2 anime that are literal slideshows. Literal slideshows. Very little effects and just straight up like one slide to another. At least the TBATE has movement effects, good effects I'd say, and good CGI when they use CGI. So that's what I say on the animation standpoint for TBATE. Now, voice acting, OST, story, and sound effects. Sound effects are fine. They're average, which is fine. They're not Fire Force level or 2B or X level. They don't have to be. They're average. They aren't grating on the ears. They aren't uncomfortable. They're good. They're fine. They're average. Voice acting. I have seen a few comments online that have been amplified because some communities that are about the beginning after end are echo chambers. They have in fact stated, like it's a fact, that the voice acting in the beginning after end is lifeless, emotionless, soulless, and those words specifically. And they are wrong. I don't know what anime they were watching, but clearly they were not watching the beginning after the end. The beginning after the end did not have lifeless, soulless, or emotionless voices. Unless they are talking about Gray, who technically reincarnated, reborn, whatever, into Arthur. And to that, I would say, yes, his voice is lifeless, soulless, emotionless. That's the point of his character, is he grew up as a weapon. He was trained to be a weapon, to be a soldier, to be a king. That's what he is. He didn't have time to learn emotions, really, or like to learn how to not be soulless. So that's his whole point. He's supposed to be emotionless. Why does no one understand that? I think also, and so, and among the other characters, they attribute lack of animation to also be a lack of good voice acting in some cases. Like there are some emotional scenes that were more emotional in the I almost said manga, but it's not a manga, in the comic. And they assume because there's no animation that it's a bad scene. But it's not. The scene itself the animation itself wasn't great, but the voice acting was good. You could hear the emotions. And I've said this at the beginning of the stream. If an anime can make me tear up or make me feel genuine emotions, it did a very good thing. And the beginning of Gen did that multiple times. It made me feel emotions multiple times. Now, granted, could it be because I remember certain things happening in the comic and like it made me emotional in the comic? Yes, that is possible. Keyword, possible. But that it still has to do well. It still has to be adapted well to make you feel the same emotions that you felt before. Just because you see, if your favorites, if like a scene that made you cry in like a book or whatever gets adapted to a visual format, an animated format or whatever, doesn't mean it's going to automatically make you cry again if it's not acted well or performed well or whatever. So Even if it did make me emotional in the when I was reading the comic, it still made me emotional in the anime because it was adapted well. It was acted out well. So the voice acting is good. It has emotions. And it's not like the voice actors are bad. If people want to blame voice acting, they shouldn't blame the voice acting, the voice actors. They should blame the director or whoever does like the voice direction. I don't know what the title of that person is. Whoever's in charge of the actual direction of the voice acting should be the one at blame, not the voice actors and the actual acting itself. But we covered the voice acting. I talked about the animation already, or lack thereof. OST. The OST was good. The OP, really good. I love that OP. It's really catchy. I listen to it almost every day. With other songs I listen to, it's there on repeat for a little while. It's very good. The ending, I have the ending in my anime playlist. I have an anime playlist on Spotify that I only put the songs of anime that I really like. Usually OPs and EDs. And I really like this, so I put it in my anime playlist. I have close to, I think, not 500. Anime. I have 327 songs in this anime playlist. That's 320. That's roughly, I'd say it's probably about 300 OP and EDs for anime that I really liked that I put into the playlist. And when I shuffle that playlist, I will listen to it for a while. I only put songs that I plan on listening to again in the playlist. If I didn't, then it'd be a lot more in that playlist. But anyways, the OST is good. The background music is fine. I like it. It fit well. I don't have much to say about it. The OST was fine. Sound effects, they were good. They weren't grating on the ears. They were fine, acceptable. They weren't Fire Force or 2 Hero X level, but they were good. They were acceptable. I don't know what the big deal is. And finally, the story. The story is good. It's, for some reason, a lot of people compare it to an anime called Mushoku Tensei. Now, I have seen in my lifetime, ever since the anime first came out, Mushoku Tensei, I have seen probably the total number of 5 episodes from it. That's it. And I dropped it every time because how do I say this? I dropped it. Oh, okay, instead of trying to beat around the bush, I'll say it as is. I dropped it because the main character is a freak. Straight up, he's a predator. I dropped it because I have no interest in that kind of character at all. I don't care how great a story is if the main character is such a degenerate that just seeing him on screen, seeing him interact and be a degenerate makes it very hard to pay attention to everything else. I don't know how people can watch something. I don't know how people are able to ignore the main character's very blatant tendencies and focus on everything else that happens and just not be bothered by his how he acts. I don't get it. They are, I'm not gonna say better people than me because that's debatable, but they're capable of things that I am not. They are capable of suspending, not disbelief, but suspending morals for the sake of a show. And that is not something I can feasibly do for something like Mushoku Tensei. And the problem is, If they just got rid of the main character for Mushoku Tensei, I'd watch the show. Because the story itself seems interesting. The world that it's in seems interesting. But the main character is not interesting. He doesn't get, based on everything I've seen from people who have watched it and dropped it, he doesn't redeem himself. He might change a little bit, but you can't have change without redemption. Especially if you're a predator. Like, there's not much to say about that. Which is why I don't think that you should be comparing the beginning after the end to Mushoku Tensei. Just because the world is kind of similar, that's about it. The characters are nothing alike. The world, all you have going for it is like maybe the world is kind of similar, I guess, but that's it. So I don't think it should be compared to that. But the story of TBATE, back on track, the story of TBATE is very good, especially in the later seasons, from what I remember. And so anyone who doesn't think it has a good story, they don't like waiting. They are not patient. Because you can't have everything be great in like 12 episodes if you know there's going to be another season, which there hopefully will be another season after technically the second half of season 1 when it returns. But yeah, so to recap with the beginning up to the end, it has good voice acting, good OST, a good story, and average sound effects, and mediocre animation, or lack thereof. It meets 4 out of 5 criteria to make a good anime. So what's a good anime? And here's a funny thing. I see people talking online about how the beginning of Shonen isn't good. It's a awful adaptation. But they never back up like what they say with like evidence. They never point to like specific things that the anime did that made it worse than the source material. Like yes, we get those there are comparisons on YouTube where people compare the comic episode to the anime episode. But that's just a side-by-side comparison. That's not negative or positive in any way. That's just a side-by-side comparison. That's it. No one ever genuinely explains why they think the anime did butchered the comic. It's always just a bare bones, they like butchered it because everybody else said they butcher it, so they butchered it. There's never any like real people sitting down and typing out or talking about what they did wrong, why they did wrong, or why it was what they changed, why it was a bad change, and what they should have done differently. No one ever says anything like that. It's always just attack anyone who thinks that it was a good anime. And it's never a backup with, hey, this is what they changed and this is why it's a bad idea. That's it. No one ever puts any thought into it. Which is why I think I don't take people seriously. Honestly. Not just with the beginning at the end. With anyone go, I don't take them seriously if they don't like talk about, if they don't like present like a reasoning behind what they say when it comes to something like this. I don't take them seriously. Simple as that. But yeah, so TBATE, the beginning after the end. My rating for the beginning after the end, I was gonna do a 7.5. to go with the 70% of the anime. 70% of it is good. The 30% is, which is the animation, is not good. But to spite people that hate it with a visceral passion and don't say why, and don't genuinely explain why, I will give this an 8.5 out of 10. And I will update my Annie list with all my ratings so far after the stream. So with that, this is my thoughts on spring 2025 for the anime season. Vigilantes is an 8.5 out of 10. TBATE so far, episode 12, 9 out of 10. Windbreaker season 2, 9.5 out of 10. Fire Force season 3, core 1, 8 out of 10. And TBATE, 8.5 out of 10. Out of spite for everyone who hates it. Yeah, this was this was it. Let's move to here. So this season, it was not a bad season per se, but it could have been a lot better, I think. This season was good overall. I enjoyed it a lot. So I enjoyed the season. I did actually enjoy the season. Despite there not being much to talk about, because I didn't watch or react to a lot. It was there. It was fine. I do think summer 2025 is going to be way more packed than season 2. Than spring season, not season 2, spring season. And with that, one last time, I will show you my thoughts on the spring anime. This, as I said, it was a good season, honestly. I liked it a lot. I am excited to see where TBATE goes. And I am, of course, excited for Fire Force Season 3 Core 2, which will be coming, I think, in January. I will, of course, be reacting to it. And who knows, by the time... I will probably at some point try reacting to TBATE again on YouTube. But for now, it's going to remain on Patreon. And yeah. With that said, I am going to wrap the stream up here. Thank you for tuning in today. I had a lot of fun talking about this. Let me know what your thoughts on everything I said in the comments down below. Or you can at me on Twitter. Twitter.com/MarkJr. You can find me at MarkJrReacts technically on almost every social media platform. But those are like more for like branding sake, to keep the name me, to keep myself keep in control. But yeah. Everywhere else you can find me, I'm Mark Jr. Because I'm Mark Jr. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Check out my Annie list in the description down below if you want to see what I'm going to be reacting to in the summer season. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm going to try, ideally, I want to make streaming a more regular thing, at least once or twice a week, once I get into the groove of the summer season. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, like this video, like the stream, I guess. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out all my links in the description down below. And until next time, my name is Mark, and as always, never stop being yourself. Stay safe out there, and I will see you